Hello, everyone. A little housekeeping note. We'll be starting this session soon, and we'll be recording this for posterity so you are all aware. Any questions that were not addressed will be answered by email if able. This presentation eventually will be available on-demand viewing on the Wiley Science Solutions website at sciencesolutions.wiley.com in the webinar section. Hi there. My name is Mark Lucchetti, Associate Field Marketing Manager with Wiley Science Solutions. Welcome to today's webinar on Engage Learners and Accelerate Scientific Research, introducing Wiley's KnowItAll Campus-Wide Solutions. It is my pleasure today to introduce you to our speaker for this informative session, Product Manager, Software and Databases, New Techniques, Dr. Nadia Laschuk. Dr. Laschuk manages our new products and databases while supporting existing KnowItAll capabilities. Nadia previously completed her PhD in Material Science from Ontario Tech University, where she performed research applying a wide array of instrumental techniques to analyze metal-organic coordination compounds. Nadia has since pursued cheminformatics and software, joining Wiley in 2022. We are excited to have Dr. Laschuk present us today the webinar entitled Engage Learners and Accelerate Scientific Research, introducing Wiley's KnowItAll Campus-Wide Solutions. We encourage the audience to submit questions, which will be addressed at the end of the session, as we will be joined by Dr. Jared Scarborough, also of Wiley Science Solutions. With that, I'll turn the stage over to Dr. Laschuk for her presentation. Take it away, Nadia.
Thank you for that introduction. As mentioned, I'm going to present today on Wiley's KnowItAll software and the campus-wide solution. So what is KnowItAll's campus solution? It is a software tool that's suitable for students, faculty, academics, and research labs on campus alike. It is a spectral analysis, processing, prediction, and other tools for IR, NMR, MS, Raman, and UV-Vis. The KnowItAll Chem Window application allows you to perform structure drawing and reactions for publishing and lab reports and publications and so much more. You have access to hundreds of spectral libraries, in fact, over 2 million records. And KnowItAll users get access to our KnowItAll Anywhere web portal for online database searching. Why KnowItAll Campus Solutions? To make an impact in the classroom and research. You provide the opportunity for your students to engage with software that's used in industry, including government labs today. Your researchers can accelerate their research. For example, they'll have access to database searching for their unknowns, including mixture analysis. And a reminder that Wiley is a partner with over 200 years in scientific research and education. The software itself is easy to deploy and use. Once we set up your license, it's relatively simple to work from there. We consider our software to be an instrument neutral environment, meaning that you can bring in your raw data formats without performing some tedious type of file conversion. And we support over 170 file formats to date. You can minimize the number of licenses you need on your own computer because KnowItAll contains such a comprehensive package of applications. For example, it is your structure drawing tool, your database basing tool, your processing tool, and so on. Here I've highlighted a few of the fields that KnowItAll is used today. And just to highlight some of them, it includes forensic sciences, life sciences, material sciences, toxicology, and so much more. Our toolkit comes with all of these applications in KnowItAll. This includes Process It for spectral processing, Search It where you can search your spectra, Mine It for spectral database management and mining, ID Expert for unknown, untargeted analysis, including mixture searches, Analyze It, which allows you to identify IR and Raman peaks, MS Expert for automated non-targeted GCMS analysis, Predicted NMR for chemical shift predictions, and QC Expert for quality control comparisons for IR, Raman, and chromatograms. Included in the KnowItAll Campus-Wide is our quantitation application. A quantitation app allows you to consolidate all of your quantitation software in exactly one piece of software, KnowItAll. It allows for external standard and internal standard workflows, and it's suitable for IR, Raman, GCMS, and UV-Vis. We know that quantitation software can be difficult, and so for this reason, we designed it with a step-by-step guidance to walk you through the workflow. Here I've shown two screenshots of workflows using quantitation, and I've shown a UV vis on the left, quantitation using peak height and external standard method. Well, on the right-hand side, I've shown a GCMS quantitation using peak area and an internal standard method. You also get access to Report It, which is our reporting application, and several other calculators and in-tool features such as NMR multiplet analysis, mass fragmentation, 2D structure drawing, isotopic distribution, and several other calculators. I've previously mentioned that you get access to over 2 million spectra in our databases, including spectra from the renowned libraries of the Wiley-Sattler, the Wiley Registry of Mass Spec, the Hummel libraries, the KnowItAll Sigma Aldrich libraries, and many more. Our libraries are curated by our internal team of experts, and they are regularly updated, meaning that KnowItAll users get access to the most recent data. On the right-hand side, I've shown the size of our libraries, including the IR, NMR, MS, UVVis, and Raman libraries. And I've noted that for NMR, it's further subdivided into carbon NMR, proton NMR, and XNMR. For XNMR, we offer several types, including nitrogen, boron, phosphorus, and several others. In addition to the spectra in these databases, you get more information such as the compound name, its chemical structure, as well as other available information such as the source of the sample, chemical and physical properties, as well as a classification when available. You have the option to add on our natural products database called the Wiley Identifier of Natural Products, or commonly known as Antibase. Antibase is used for the identification of cancers, diabetes, and multiple diseases, as well as antimicrobial and antifungal compounds. You can use it to screen for already known compounds or find similar compounds with similar modes of activity. The library is over 58,000 natural products that is updated annually by Wiley, and it is widely used and cited to date with over 1,500 citations. I've included here a compound coverage for the library, as well as some common applications, including pharmaceuticals, metabolomics, and food and cosmetics. As previously mentioned, our KnowItAll users get access to our Anywhere web portal, which is mobile friendly as well as tablet friendly, meaning that your users can search compound spectra or search spectra directly on their mobile device. I've included a screenshot of what the web portal looks like, where you see on the top hand side I had a query spectrum, and then I have a list of top matches below. Now with that, we're ready to get into a live demo of the KnowItAll 2024 software. Okay, so I'm showing you KnowItAll 2024. Before I get into the demo, I just want to show you that you get access to many applications as previously mentioned. We separate them using these toolboxes. So this is my basics toolbox, my data, my spectral processing, spectral analysis, and quantitation. There were several applications across each of those toolboxes, and I will have time today to demo about half of them. I'm going to start with spectral processing in our Process It application. This is where you would come to analyze your raw NMR, IR, Raman, and GCMS data. I'm going to open up an IR spectrum, and I just want to show you that across the application, or across the processing tools for the different types of data, you will get access to expected processing tools such as a smoothing, baseline corrections. For IR, we have ATR corrections. There's also peak area and integration, and we even have macro functionalities. I'm just going to demo one tool. I'll show peak picking. And just to show you that our tools are really easy to use. For example, maybe I want to change the peaked height of the peaks in this and eliminate the short ones. So I can just click replace, close, and you see my short peaks are no longer labeled. Now I'm going to transfer this spectrum into an application called Analyze It, using our transfer to bar, which allows you to send pieces of information from application to application across KnowItAll. So I'm sending this in to analyze it, and I'm going to actually analyze the peaks in my IR spectrum. Now, in this case, I do know the correct structure for the data, so I'm going to open it up. And what you see is this structure has several key functional groups. So the software has loaded all of the IR information for those particular functional groups. For example, if I expand the menu for an alkyne, we see that alkynes are expected to have a CH stretching around 3,300, as well as the triple bond stretching around 2,100. You might have noticed that as I clicked on those traces, they became highlighted over the raw data. You're able to overlay multiple peaks at a time. So for example, I can hold control, and you see that as I hold my mouse button down and click, several peaks become highlighted in the spectrum. I also want to show that if I select a key type of functional group, I can click this red button to display the Sattler handbook of IR information for the various peaks, and it does update in real time. So now if I click alkanes, you see it once again updated to the relevant information. Now the Analyze It application subdivides peak locations for typical IR, polymer IR, vapor phase IR, and Raman. So I'm going to show you an example of a polymer IR using this application. I've loaded in an unknown spectrum. In this case, I don't know what the structure is. So to support you figuring out or identifying what this could be, we have in each of these Analyze It tabs the ability to click Analyze It and browse a functional group. This loads a pop-up that documents all of the characteristic peaks for the type of IR Raman that you're looking at. So in this case, I'm looking at polymer IR. So if I scroll down, I see different types of polymer IR information. Possibly, maybe I think that I have a polyamide in my polymer, so I can click OK to load the information. And I can click through and see different types of nylons, for example, or other types of polyamide polymers. And once again, you could expand the list to see the individual types of stretching. Okay, now I'm going to switch into our data mining tools. I'll begin in Search It, and I'm going to show a simple GCMS search using a typical dot product cosine search. I'll show you that I've preloaded our databases to be the Wiley MS library. I click search and it's going to find me a match, hopefully in our library. What you see on top is a butterfly view of the query versus the match result. Now you are able to change your view, for example, a stack spectrum or even a subtraction view. Down in the table, I've got an HQI where HQI is the hit quality index, a bigger value is better, as well as reverse HQI, which represents ignoring peaks that are in the query but not in the database result itself. If I just click one down, you can start to see that there is a bit of a different spectrum forming. If I put my mouse over this column here, this is actually giving you the specific database where the match came from. So this record is from the Food, Flavors, and Fragrances library. On the right-hand side, I have the structure for the particular match, and then the database itself provides me with a lot of information about the match. So for example, in addition to the name, I get the CAS registry number, I get a classification that it is a pesticide, and if I scroll down, I even get information such as the source of the spectrum and where it was measured. Okay, now I'm gonna hop back into Search It and show an example of an orthogonal search. In this case, I've queued up an FTIR spectrum as well as a Raman spectrum. And I'm asking the software to find me a compound that meets a library match of the IR record as well as the Raman record. And for this reason, I've actually queued up our IR library as well as our Wiley Raman libraries. And I'm performing a simple correlation search for these. Now, when the results load, they're going to look a little bit different to our last search result because we're performing an orthogonal search. We're going to get tools to support looking at orthogonal search results. So as just described, instead of only a table, we additionally get a auto-generated scatter plot. where the Raman spectral HQI is plotted against IR spectral HQI. The best match is selected by default to be dibutylamine. If I just click one dot lower, the plot is interactive. I now get a Raman spectral HQI dropping to about 85%, even though the IR is still pretty good, showing the value of doing these orthogonal searches. If you do prefer a table view, I can just click on the table tab and all of that information is right there. Now I'm going to hop on over into ID Expert and open up an IR spectrum for a steroid. I didn't previously mention this, but for both ID Expert and Search It, we can perform mixture analysis, which means the software is able to look for multiple components in the same search. So ID Expert is performing a really fast search, and it begins by looking for one match. In this case, it found a match of ethisterone at a score of 78%. So now you can see it loading, and what it's doing is seeking to see if there's another combination of spectra in our libraries that can bring that match score up. In this case, we're going to see it actually finds a match. And so the software is flashing at me so that I know to click on it because it's found a result of 95%. And I'm not going to click it, but you could click to look at 3 components should you be interested. So at 95%, we can see the combination of these 2 steroids come together to make a composite spectrum with such a match. You also have access to the residual spectrum. Now, I haven't previously mentioned this, but across our applications, you're able to generate automatic reports, and I'm going to do that with my ID Expert results. So I click this Transfer to Reported button, and my results for this search appear in our reported app. The report itself is interactive. So for example, I can add my own name as an operator. You can add other information, and be aware that while I'm using a default Wiley template, you are able to make your own templates and even save them as the default. You can also click this button here to quickly generate the PDF for this report so that you can print it off, email it, and so on. Now I'm going to hop on over into ChemWindow application. This is where you come to draw your structures as well as your reactions. And I'll just draw a simple reaction in here. And as I draw, I'm actually using some hotkeys on my keyboard. I'll show you that in addition to structure drawing, you get access to reaction arrows, various rings, atoms, and bonds, as well as different predefined substituents and templates under the chemistry tab. Now that I have a structure, I'm going to transfer it to our predicted NMR application for an NMR prediction. So what the software has done is predicted my proton NMR using all solvents. Be aware that you are able to filter by solvent type if you'd like to. The prediction or the structure is interactive. So for example, if I'd like to see information about proton 1, we can see that proton 1 becomes highlighted in this table, and the shift is 7.56 ppm. There's also a tree on the left-hand side where the corresponding row in the tree becomes highlighted. If I expand this, you start to get information about the particular record that contributed to that prediction. So you can see that there was a lot of records that went into the prediction. The record itself displays on the bottom half of my screen. I can see that it was measured in DMSO, and the record comes from the Wiley Organic Compound Library with the corresponding record ID. This is actually a hyperlink, which means if I click on that, it loads the corresponding in its library for me to review more deeply. The last application I'm going to demo is our MS Expert application. Here I'm going to open up a raw chromatogram, and it's going to perform a very fast deconvolution looking for matches in our MS library for each of these peaks. So for example, if I click on this peak here at about 3.9 minutes, I get a match of alpha pinene and a match score of about 91%. If you'd like to see more than the best match, you just click the plus symbol and you can start to see your top 10 hits, which of course is tunable. And like everything else in KnowItAll, you're able to export your results or send them on over to Report It to generate a report. Okay, with that, I think we're ready to return back to my presentation. And before we open up the floor to Q&A, I just want to remind you that you can visit sciencesolutions.wiley.com for more information.
That is some great information, Nadia. Thank you. We've reached the end of our presentation today. Thank you, Dr. Laschuk, for your time and expertise to present your talk on Engage Learners and Accelerate Scientific Research, introducing Wiley's KnowItAll Campus-Wide Solutions. So we'd now like to open up the session to some questions from our attendees. If you could please type into the questions toolbar, that would be great. Also joining us for today for the Q&A is Dr. Jared Scarborough, Application Specialist for Wiley Science Solutions. Jared has a PhD in Bioanalytical Medicinal Chemistry from the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, as well as a BS from the Analytical Chemistry from Arkansas State University. Welcome, Jared. So let's see what you're welcome. Let's see what we have here. Here's one. What is the database engine that we use with this solution?
That's a great question. I'll take that one. The database engine itself in KnowItAll is novel to our software. It is proprietary and it's customized for very fast storage and searching. One nice thing about it is the data itself that you attach to the record is stored in its original instrumental format, meaning that you always have access to your raw data, even when maybe you've misplaced the original file somewhere down the line.
Great, thank you, Nadia. Let's see, here's another one. Can you draw and search on reactions?
Yep, so Chem Window, as mentioned in the presentation, is the drawing package that's included with KnowItAll. You can draw your structures and reactions in there. The reactions themselves can be data-based. However, we do not have reaction searching at the moment, for example, atom mapping. However, you are able to search components of your reaction, for example, reactants or products, as well as Marrakech searches.
Okay, thank you, Nadia. Here's one about our search features. When I do a search on KnowItAll, I do not see the structure information window to the right. How do I get that to show up?
That's a good question. Maybe we can park this one. If you send me an image of what you're seeing, I can better support you. We do have a good team of tech support here.
Great, thank you, Nadia. All right, here's another interesting one. How does the KnowItAll software compare to KnowItAll Anywhere?
KnowItAll Anywhere, if you might have heard me mention at the start of the presentation, is our light client. It's actually an online searching tool for searching the KnowItAll databases. Because of that, it means you're able to search your structures or spectra, but it won't do advanced processing or mixture analysis. It is also mobile friendly, meaning that you could, for example, search directly from your phone, and KnowItAll users get access to Anywhere.
Great. Okay, here's another one. How many kinds of structure searches does KnowItAll have?
KnowItAll can perform a few types of structure searching, including exact match, substructure, and structure similarity searches. I think that we actually have about 14 similarity search algorithms available to you. In addition to that, the searches can be refined by stereochemistry restrictions, for example, salts, tautomers, etc.
Thank you again, Nadia. All right, here's another one. Is it possible to make an estimation of the amount of each compound in an unknown spectrum?
Yes. Yes. Now with the new KnowItAll 2024, okay, you can do quantitation that give you better feel amount each component if you do it using our quantitation, but you should try. It also depends on the separation of those components. On the other hand, the mixture analysis is a key, curve fitting. So the amount of proportion proposed by mixture analysis actually is a normalized peak fitting. So you should try both. But with the new quantitation that estimate area under curve and information properly, it should be helpful for you.
Thank you for answering that question, Michelle. Jumping in there, appreciate it. Okay, here's another one. Are there any LC-MS capabilities with this?
That's a good question. For 2024 release, which is now available, users will be able to build tandem MS libraries. For example, we've added several instrument vendors, which you could look up our support for that online, as well as general formats such as MZML. And in addition to building tandem MS libraries, users will be able to attach metadata to their libraries, such as the actual structure, as well as experiment details, or even link to their raw files or analysis sheets directly in the database itself. As well, for LC-MS processing and searching, this is in development.
Excellent, thank you, Nadia. All right, we'll get maybe one or two more in. Are there ways to relate vibrational spectral bands with functional group?
Yes, we have an application called Analyze It. It has a functional group band and how it vibrates and what kind of motions, symmetrical, unsymmetrical, and strength. So what you do is you transfer your spectrum into the analyzer application. Depends on what type of spectrum. You can do polymer or organic IR or the Raman, as well as vapor phase IR. Then you click on a band you're not familiar with. It provides you with a list of possible bands there. You do have to make a judgment which band it actually is, but it tells you if you have this band, what kind of strength it should be and what other related band this functional group could have. So that way it helps you to compare your spectrum. This is traditional way of doing it, and KnowItAll is particularly strong in the area of polymer. Is unique. Nobody else has polymer band analysis. With the new KnowItAll, if you're dealing with unique organic compound that's not in our collection of band, because we collect, a book, like a book band from the books. But what you have a new band, you either build your own band database or you can label those bands. So each time people compare with your spectrum and see that band, they see your label, for example, carbonyl, you may label it, or you may label it some unique functional group. So you have many ways of doing it.
Great, thank you for that answer. Appreciate it. Maybe we can get one or two more in. What type of MALDI data is supported by KnowItAll?
Currently, we're just investigating support for MALDI, but there is not support for 2024.
Thank you, Nadia. I think we can maybe get one more in here. So where can I find more information on library specifications, such types of compounds included in these databases?
We have
Sorry. Would you like to answer, Michelle?
Yeah, we go to knowitall.com and /databases and literature, and you can find many information for each database description.
We have one more. Can you process it for mass spectral databases for this as well?
Yes, I think I understand what the question is. In 2024, our processed MS has changed. It used to be just very mechanical. You extract spectrum and you have transport to search it to search. So it's very hard to use. Now we revamped it. So in process MS, it's much like Nadia's presentation of MS expert. You put your spectrum in, it analyzes it for you. In this application, user has a better control of exactly band peaks and the component than just the automatic MS export. So try it.
Great,
And,
thank you.
yeah.
Excellent. Well, we've reached the end of our presentation and our time for questions today. I'd like to thank Dr. Nadia Laschuk, Dr. Jared Scarborough, as well as Dr. Michelle D'Souza of Wiley Science Solutions for taking the time to present us this talk on engage learners and accelerate scientific research, introducing Wiley's KnowItAll Campus-Wide Solutions. Any questions that were not addressed will be answered by email if able. This presentation will be eventually available on KnowItAll, Wiley Science Solutions website for on-demand viewing at sciencesolutions.wiley.com in the webinar section. Thank you very much for attending and have a great day.